Hi guys. I'm waiting for Michelle to join before we really get started here. So give me a minute and I'm gonna, yeah. So we are waiting on Michelle Lab Muffin. So I'm just gonna finish getting ready. Hi. Hey guys. Yeah, I think that a drink is a good idea today. So let's see. Let me check and see if Michelle's here. Okay, she hasn't joined yet. The hornets are scary. Okay, so do you guys know this? I like shared something in my stories yesterday or the day before, whatever, about the like massive Japanese murder hornets that I guess are being found now here. So that's fun. That's like just the thing that we needed to keep going on this year and keep moving in a good direction for like humanity and society is giant murder hornets. Yeah, so I've been telling people like I'm sure the dinosaur aliens are next, and I'm kind of like waiting for them, and I think I welcome them at this point. It'll be something interesting. Katie McFarlane, yes, murder hornets. Look it up. It's real. Like I know that they're in Japan. I remember reading about them on like Cracked 10 years ago, maybe like a super long time ago, and I was like, wow, it's a really good thing they're not here, and now they're here. So they usually don't murder people, but they can. But they usually murder bees, and they'll like straight up massacre a whole hive of bees, which is really bad because the bees are already kind of screwed anyway in our environment. So yeah, murder hornets. Cheers. Um, So I've never done a live with another person before, and I think all I have to do is when Michelle Lab Muffin Beauty Science joins, I think I just have to like, I think I just have to add her. How do we defeat the murder hornets? I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe we just need to get on their good side. Yeah. Yeah. So honeybees can be victimized by them, but I think that. So this is the interesting thing. This has nothing to do with beauty, but we're just like chilling right now, right? There are some bees have evolved or figured out a way to fight the murder hornets. I think that what they do is like they can buzz at such a speed, and with so many of them doing it at once, that they can like overheat the hornet and kill it that way. So, but the issue, which I was reading about last night, is that our bees don't know how to do that because this is new to them. The murder hornets are new. Hi, Michelle. Okay, I'm gonna add you. Okay, so I'm adding Michelle now, but yeah, I don't. I think that the thinking is that our bees aren't going to be able to figure that out soon before the murder hornets slaughter them. So that's fun. You look pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I put in some effort because I've put in zero effort over the last like 2 weeks.
I did it too. I
So that
spent a
was
lot of
fun.
Saturday like putting on makeup and doing my hair for once because I was like, oh, I have a reason to care now.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice. Like it's relaxing. Yeah.
Okay, so we wanted to have a live and just do like Q&A, whatever, and talk about kind of our favorite products because those are the kind of questions that we get asked a lot. So I think we're doing sunscreen, exfoliant, and hair care,
hmm
right? You
Yeah.
go first.
And then I guess if anyone has any suggestions, then we can do that afterwards as well.
I'm sure both of us have plenty of stuff that we can bring out and show people.
Yeah, just mountains.
So what's your favorite sunscreen?
I've talked about this so many times, and there's some grease on it because I'm organized like that. This is the Ultraceuticals. Hey, Stephen. This is the Ultraceuticals Daily Moisturizer. Honestly, I think the main reason I like it so much is that it was the first one I tried consistently because they had this 90-day thing where they got me to use their whole range, and they gave me treatments as well for my pigmentation. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll do 90 days of the one brand, which is pretty hard. Yeah. But it's like the first sunscreen that didn't give me clogged pores like the whole time. So yeah, whenever I want to go back to a safe sunscreen, I just go back to it.
Is it mineral or
No, so it is actually octinoxate. I know everyone hates octinoxate these days, but it's actually octinoxate combined with avobenzone. And everyone asks me, like, aren't they unstable together? Yes and no. You can stabilize them together. And they do this by partly, I think it might be encapsulated. I haven't actually asked them. I should really ask them. But it's also got bimotrizinol, which is tinosorb S, octocrylene, and phenylbenzimid. My gosh, phenylbenzimidazole sulfonic acid, which is like a rarer one that you don't see that much these days. But the more stable ones will stabilize the less stable ones. Yeah. Yeah. Ta-da.
Yeah, I
I
get
think
a
this
lot
is
of
what I'm meant to
requests
do.
for like good mineral sunscreens, and I don't have any recommendations because like
Yeah, yeah. I've never
I'm
tried a
loving
mineral sunscreen that didn't give me some white cast. Um,
exactly
yeah, so I think the Purito one is one of the best I've tried so
the
far,
comfy
white
water.
cast wise. It's really light, but it still does do a bit of white cast. And I recently tried the new ultraviolet one, and that one is also really good. But it is actually a combo sunscreen. So it's got titanium dioxide, tinosorb M, and uvinyl A plus. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I found some combo ones that are decent, but one that's like
Hmm.
totally mineral, I can't deal with it because it always has
Yeah.
a white cast, and it's
We
usually
have a
like
brand here which
greasy.
is Sunsense, and their purely mineral one is just zinc oxide, and that one is pretty decent. Oh yeah, let me know if I drop out because my internet is really awful.
You were
Did
kind
I
of
just drop
freezing a
out?
little bit.
I might have just dropped out. uh, is my internet working?
Yeah, mine might do it too. Oh, because my Wi-Fi is not great.
Yeah, mine's not great. Sorry.
Whatever. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
So my favorite one, I've been using this for like a year and I haven't found anything that compares to it. So I talk about it a lot in my feed post. It's the Misha All Around Safe Block Aqua Sun Gel. Oh, look, it's written on the back, so I can cheat this time because it's such a long name. I always forget like what's the full name of it. But it's a chemical sunscreen because my skin doesn't have sensitivities to those, so I just kind of roll with that and enjoy those. Since there's so much more cosmetically elegant, like I can put this on in like a huge glob and it won't be shiny, it won't have any white cast, like it'll dry quick, which is like a super big deal. It kind of doesn't matter now because I don't have anywhere to go, but when times are normal, like 5 days of the week, I have to leave the house at like 7:30 to take my son to school. So I need sunscreen that dries like really fast. So even the other ones that I like Biore or Earth's Recipe, take way longer to dry and then it just feels kind of wet. So
Mm.
this is like the only sunscreen I found that's just like perfect cosmetically. And it does it because it has a shitload of alcohol in it. But that's okay for my skin. But it's usually something that I kind of warn people about. Like if your skin doesn't tolerate alcohol, it's probably not a good idea. But because my skin is fine with it, I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna keep using this. Then like I'm not seeing any issues with it. But I always hear about other brand sunscreens. And so I tried the Purito Comfy Water Sunblock and I
Mm.
picked the wrong one anyway. I think the one that everyone was telling me they loved was the other one. But the
Yeah,
Purina
the
one was like
unscented.
the last mineral one that I tried, and I was so disappointed because it was still white and nasty. Like it had a good, like it had that water gel consistency, so
Mm.
that was good. Like the finish was good, but it still had that white cast, and then it was like pill everywhere. Like I tried it with a few different moisturizers underneath, and I was like, I can't
Mm.
do this. You know, like you don't
Yeah,
want to use a sunscreen that looks like you accidentally used a peeling gel or something
yeah,
instead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the issues with mineral sunscreens is that they're just not like mineral sunscreen filters aren't very effective in that you need a lot to absorb a small amount of UV. With organic filters, you need a little bit to absorb the same amount of UV, and so you just need to put a ton of it into a product. So I think the lowest zinc oxide only sunscreen that's SPF 50 plus I've seen is 15%. This isn't like, yeah, just pure zinc oxide. And yeah, once you have 15% of your product is just pure grit, you just need
Right.
to have so much other stuff to make it disperse. And like, you need something thick so that it stays dispersed, and then it like the texture just goes to crap. Um,
Exactly. Like,
yeah, so that's
and there's
my
some
big
things
problem with
around
them.
nano filters too, right? So even if you have
Mm,
like nano zinc oxide, then
mm,
there's some issues around that. And this is kind of why, like,
mm,
every year around this time of year, like the whole Pinterest and sort of blogging world goes crazy with
mm.
like DIY sunscreen recipes.
Oh,
And
yep.
I'm just like, you guys don't understand how complicated, like how many moving
Yeah.
parts there are to formulating a
Mm.
sunscreen. Like you're not just gonna get baby butt lotion and then mix it up with some
Yep.
essential oil and put it on your face. Like
Mm.
that's not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. And also like you just need, yeah, you just need equipment that can disperse it as well. And like a hand whisk isn't going to do it.
Exactly.
And I think some places they just like stir with a wooden spoon, and it's like, really, like, do you really think like you can't even make a cake with a wooden spoon? You need at least a hand mixer. Like, why do you think
Right.
you can make a sunscreen with a wooden spoon? Yeah.
Me too, and like it drives me nuts like how unsanitary it probably is. Like if you're mixing
Mm,
something DIY to use right
mm,
away, like if you want to mix up some
yeah.
sea salt and olive oil and like use it as a
Mm,
scrub, that's one thing. But if you're mixing something up and then you're gonna keep it and keep using it for like a month, I'm just like I don't want to know what's growing in your stuff. There was that
yeah.
thing on Reddit, skincare addiction. It was like maybe a year ago. The
Mm,
girl that was she made something with like yogurt. Right. It was like yogurt and
yeah.
turmeric or something. And then she put it in her closet for whatever reason.
Oh,
Like it wasn't, oh, she said
gross.
because she didn't want to keep going to the fridge when she wanted to use the mask. So she put this like food-based mask in her closet. And then she was like, it's got mold now. And it's like,
Oh,
yeah, because
surprise.
but I think that the question that she was asking was if it's still okay to use. No, dude, no.
I
But
mean,
that's why I
it's
don't DIY.
okay if you don't mind like putting mold on your face, I guess. It's
It's
your
your
life.
decision.
It's
Yeah.
not my fetish, but maybe I don't judge that much.
Exactly. Yeah, I just don't want any of it. Yeah, but that's like the whole DIY scene is so wild because people are like
Mm,
mixing stuff up in their kitchen. Okay,
yeah,
so then before the exfoliants, I actually have a question that I wanted to ask you.
I will
So
try to answer it.
I think it's gonna be like elementary for you. So a lot of people say that using products with humectants like hyaluronic acid
Mm,
and glycerin.
yeah.
So the general explanation that you hear a lot is that they're drawing water from the air to your skin.
Mm,
So then
yeah.
conversely, people claim that if you use those kind of products with humectants in them in a dry climate, it's going to suck the water out of your skin to
Mm,
compensate. So I thought about it a lot and I'm like, but when you use like a hyaluronic acid toner or something,
mm,
it's combined with water already. Like the
yeah.
hyaluronic acid has already got the water that it needs. Like it's not getting into your skin and then pulling water. It's bringing
Mm.
the water that it's already holding into your skin, right?
So I was gonna do a post or a video on this, but I feel like it's one of those things where if I do a post or a video, it takes like 3 weeks to do, but if I just talk about it, it takes me like 5 minutes. Okay, so here is my handy skin model. So humans are like 70% water. So down here where we have living cells, we are 70% water or something. I might have the numbers wrong. I am really bad at numbers, but it's like roughly thereabouts. So yeah, 70% water. And then as we go into the top layers, so this is the epidermis, and then this is the stratum corneum. As it goes up, we get drier and drier. So stratum corneum, I can never remember this number. I think it's like, I'm going to throw a number out there, but do not quote me, maybe like 30%. So by the time you get up here, I'm sure it differs between the layers because this is like an amazing barrier. So up the top, it's probably like much lower than at the bottom of the stratum corneum. So it's like a gradient. So the whole time you have skin, you are evaporating water through the stratum corneum, so transepidermal water loss. This is unavoidable. There is always going to be some. You can reduce it using things like petroleum jelly. I believe petroleum jelly blocks almost all of it, but you will need a thick layer. And that layer of petroleum jelly, as you go through life, like just sleeping or whatever, that will slowly like break down, absorb into the stratum corneum, and then the transepidermal water loss goes up again. So this transepidermal water loss, you don't dry out because this is so watery, the rest of you. So when you put on your hyaluronic acid, like you said, there is water in the product already. So that will be there. That will eventually evaporate, but the hyaluronic acid won't. The hyaluronic acid will stay here. So it will slow down transepidermal water loss, I guess, in a sense, because as the water evaporates, it gets to the hyaluronic acid and it stays there for longer and it doesn't evaporate as fast. So that will moisturize your skin there. So technically it does sort of draw water out of the bottom, but it doesn't matter because you've got this giant reservoir. You can almost consider it like an infinite reservoir of water down here. Yeah. So it will sort of, maybe it'll temporarily dry out your skin. I think the real reason it feels like it's drying out your skin is because when you put it on, it's wet. And then once the water evaporates, the transepidermal water loss doesn't go fast enough to really keep it hydrated as well. So I think that's probably the feeling that people are talking about. With glycerin, interestingly, I think glycerin is the only thing I've seen a proper study on. But if you just put glycerin alone with water, you will actually still get more hydrated skin. You don't need an occlusive on top. But glycerin is weird. Glycerin is a very weird molecule because it can go through things called like aquaporins. So we've got special channels in our skin that glycerin can go into, which other humectants can't. So I don't know if that is just glycerin that does that or if it's every humectant. But yeah, I hope that all sort of made sense. That was not organized.
So, I mean, the key takeaway for this is that people in dry climates shouldn't be worried about using humectants.
Yeah.
Because that's,
and if they are, they can just, I guess they can just put a occlusive on top and that will counteract it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like violently sucking the water out of your skin and like flinging it into the air, which is kind of like the like I wouldn't call it fear mongering. It's not on that level, but that's definitely like the feeling that I get when I see that kind of discussion around it. Like I think that because we proceed from the understanding that humectants grab and hold water, then it sort of becomes like but then if there's less water in the air, then that's what it's going to do with it. So it's good to know, definitely to be able to kind of say like, no, it doesn't do that. So you don't have to avoid using like a hydrating toner or something if you live in the desert.
Yeah. I think though there is like, I think people do kind of feel like it is because maybe it's not moisturizing enough on their skin. And so like their skin has just re-dried out to back where it was before. And that feels like it's tight compared to what it was when it was happy and plump.
Exactly. Like where I live, it's not usually that dry, but we get this thing called the Santa Ana winds, which is super fun. It's like extreme hot, dry winds that blow in from the desert for like a few days to a week at a time. And I definitely like can use the exact same skincare routine that I do normally, and my face feels like a fucking desert. Like it's so dry. Like with occlusives and everything, you can feel a huge difference. So I think that it can be super alarming for people that live in that kind of climate. Like whatever I put on is still not helping because it's just that dry. Hey,
you look very moist at the moment, by the way. You look beautifully moist and glowing.
So what's your favorite exfoliant?
Um, I have a lot, but I thought I'd highlight this one at the moment, which is Kate Somerville Exfoliate.
Ooh.
So this one is I don't think it's very popular because it's so expensive, but you literally use the tiniest amount at a time, which is why like this tube has lasted me forever. So what I like about it is that it's a mask. So you put it on in the shower, or I put it on in the shower, and it's like you leave it on for 2 minutes. You can leave it on for longer if you are willing to risk that. I personally don't bother timing it. I probably leave it on for like 5 minutes. The nice thing about it, unlike the ordinary peeling solution, and the drunk elephant one, is that this stays on your skin in the shower. It doesn't like start running down your face into your eyes. So I like using it when I haven't had time to put in the alpha hydroxy acids or whatever, or I've forgotten, and I just want to like smash my face with something. Um, so yeah, it's like my catch up exfoliant. So yeah, it doesn't interfere with like I don't have to think about whether or not I've used like too many layers that night or whatever. Yeah, a good catch up one. So I was actually talking to Davin Lim, and he actually does something sort of similar. He was saying he does like he gives himself a retin-A peel once a month, and then he makes sure he times it so that he doesn't have to see anyone for the next few days, and so he just peels, and then that's his skincare. Like that's his. He doesn't bother with like exfoliants and stuff. He just like smashes his face once a month, and that keeps him like going for the whole month. It's such a male approach, I feel, but I also thought it was kind of hilarious because I do a like mini version of it. Yeah.
I like that. I wanted to highlight, not because this is like such a unique product, but just for the economy and the usefulness, is the ordinary glycolic acid, the 7%.
Nice.
Because, okay, so like I'll talk about this a lot. It's not special in itself. Like it's 7% glycolic acid. It's like 3.4 pH or something. It's pretty, like plenty of brands could make the exact same thing. The thing is, it's a big fucking bottle for less than $10. And it gives it a lot of utility because like I'll use it on my face, obviously. But I remember when they first sent it and I was like, I'm never gonna finish this. What the hell? It takes like a couple of drops for my face. It's not.
Mm,
And then I started using it on my scalp, right?
mm.
Like Tracy had said, she's the one who got me to ask for this one because the nozzle is so good for putting it on your scalp. But
Yeah,
then I started
nice.
using it on my body because with my face, I'm mostly chemical exfoliants, but my body, I mostly just scrub, right? Because like all
Mm,
the body AHAs are not shitty, like they work, but they're kind of gross. So there's
mm,
amlactin, which has, I think it's either a
mm,
10% or a 12% glycolic, or no, 10% or 12% lactic body lotion.
mm,
And they have a few of those. And then there's like Gold Bond has one, and there are a few other drugstore brands that have similar, like effective AHA body products. And Paula's Choice has AHA and retinol ones, but they're all lotions and they're all like kind of thick and gross, and they usually stink.
mm,
Like they smell
mm,
weird because lactic acid just smells weird, like in itself. I think it was like the Gold Bond one just smells like straight up cat pee. So I don't know, like I'm kind of vain. I don't want to use a body lotion that stinks because it's not very good for like
mm,
days, right?
mm,
So I started using this on my body too, and I realized like for $9 for a full body, like head, face, and body exfoliant that lasts forever, even if you do that, like
mm,
I have a lot of favorites that are really expensive, so it makes me feel really good when I have one that's like super useful and it's not crazy
mm.
expensive. So I don't have to feel bad telling people, like, yeah, man, I love this one. You should try it. And it's so cheap that you could just use it up on your body and it would still take you months too.
Yeah, I think that is probably one of my favorite ordinary products. I haven't tried it on my scalp yet, because I'm not organized enough to like put it on my scalp like an hour or 2 hours before I wash my hair. Um, I really should, but like I don't know, I'm such a disaster. Like even during normal times, I'm like it'll be like 9:30 at night and I'll be like, shit, I have to shower. I don't know, my life is like such a disaster. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, what have you found? Like how have you found it on your scalp?
It's
Tell me
kind
what
of
you do.
I always kind of have issues with like it gets itchy or I'll get little clogs or like little
Mm,
bumps and like
mm,
this on my scalp. So I tried it because it's like scalp clarifying. So I think that Koreans do this stuff more. It's more common to have like scalp clarifying products, and that's pretty common. So I found that after I start using it, like all the itching goes away and I don't
mm.
get those bumps, which like no one sees, but you feel them and they're not
Oh yeah, yeah.
comfortable. And then I feel like for a couple of days after I do it, my hair just is like has a little bit more volume and it's just like a little bit more
Mm,
alive feeling, like how you get if you use something clarifying. And I do
mm,
have like I tried a scalp clarifying product from someone. I'm like totally blanking. But and it was kind of the same concept, but you use it as a shampoo and that's convenient, but kind of going back to like the economy and the utility of it.
mm.
I just kind of do it when I remember to, like, oh, my scalp's
Yeah.
itchy. I should do it again. And then I just do that and it just helps a ton. Yeah. Let's see. And someone's
So
asking
how
if I
long?
think it'll help for an
Mm,
oily scalp. I think so because that's kind of my thing. So I wash my hair every day anyway, and that's just like it just gets oily. I've tried the no poo thing, and I've tried co-washing, and I've tried like just not shampooing as often, and it like I don't have the patience to wait 2 or 3 months to see if that would actually help. So I just shampoo every day.
mm.
But I
Yeah,
do
me too.
find that it
Oh,
reduces the oily feeling on my scalp for a couple of days.
mm. So how long do you leave it on your hair, on your scalp before you wash your hair?
I do it for like 30 minutes, I want to
Mm,
say. Then, like sometimes I'll go longer just if I forget or I get in the middle of something, I don't shower right away, but 30 minutes has been
mm.
totally fine.
That sounds doable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe just
I
like
will try
once or
that.
twice a week or just try it and see how it goes. Like, I definitely think it's helpful.
Mm.
Just a good segue into our favorite hair care product.
Oh, before we do that, yeah, so I've gotten some like scalp scrubs, and I do wonder with them, because like your hair is most fragile when it's wet, and then you've got this like physical abrasive like salt scrub. I always wonder if that's going to lead to damage further on down, because like with my old bleached hair, it's just like shredded. So I don't know if it's going to like, yeah, so I feel like the chemical exfoliant is probably safer. Yeah, I don't know. I
I
haven't
think
seen anyone talk about like the scrubs damaging your hair yet, but I do wonder if that happens. Yeah.
even if not, it just seems kind of less convenient
It's
to
hard to
use.
get in
Like,
there.
I just
Like,
picture like a scrub like that I would use on my face and having to like get all the little particles out of my hair when
yeah,
I'm
I
like
think,
washing my hair.
and I think it's a bit like, with dry shampoo, how like theoretically you're meant to like divide each centimeter and then like spray it and then do that. I feel like it's one of those things, and it's like I don't have the patience for that. But yeah.
It seems like something that would be fine if you went to a salon and someone was doing it for you. I
Yeah,
would like too much work at home.
yeah.
That's my thing with hair. Like I don't like putting a lot of effort into maintaining
Mm,
it. I guess like I don't
yeah,
really
me too.
do hair masks and stuff because I don't know. It's Asian hair. It's just gonna go do whatever it wants to do anyway. Like the next day, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, when I bleached it, it started behaving so differently. Like before well, right now most of my hair is like back to normal. Um, and yeah, it's just gotten so much easier to take care of. Like, yeah, yeah, completely
When
different
it's
game.
kind of
All right,
damaged, it
so
holds its style better, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Like I curled my hair and it would stay for like 3 days. It was great.
This is gonna be straight in by the time this live is over. I'll make sure to tell you like 10 minutes before it started.
Okay, favorite hair product. I brought this along. So this is the IGK Mixed Feelings Leave-In Blonde Toning Drops, and this is kind of just like this is genius. It is just really dark purple drops that you add to any product. So this is probably just like it's like that level.
Oh,
Um, so if you have like colored hair, if you have bleached hair, it goes brassy. And so usually what you do is you use purple shampoo in the shower, or you use like purple conditioner and hope that it stays in. My problem is sometimes I come out of the shower and it's like toned one side really well and the other side is like a different color, or I've tried to tone it and it's like still yellow, or it's like the second day and it's gone brassy again. So this thing mixes into any product and you can just, yeah, mix it in and then slap it on. Yeah, so again, it's just like one of those lazy things where like if you've messed it up the first time, you can save it with this. Yeah, so this is IGK, which is a brand. I'm not sure where it's stocked. I think it's Sephora in Australia, but yeah.
Oh, I
How
love
about you?
lazy stuff. So mine, and before I say it, I saw someone asked if I thought that using acids on the scalp would mess with hair color. So mine is colored. I just do like a demi-gloss, a black one, and I've never noticed that it loses any color or like that it loses color any faster from doing scalp acids. So I wouldn't be super definitive and just say
Mm.
like it doesn't do that, but in my experience, it hasn't like faded my color at all. So my favorite is Olaplex conditioner
Nice.
because like a lot of repairing, like damage repairing products, I've noticed they don't really do it. Like they just use a lot of conditioning agents to make your hair look and feel smoother while it's in your hair. So then if you use like a repairing mask or a repairing conditioner, it'll kind of look okay. And then when you wash your hair again, it's just goes back to the same that it was before because it was just kind of covering up the damage, like sealing it up temporarily.
Mm.
And then because of your blog post about Olaplex and because of
Mm.
Tracy kind of like singing its praises, I got this. And it seems to be like the Olaplex in general seems to have the lock on actually being able to like physically repair
Mm.
hair, like the protein bonds in your hair, which is what other products kind of like imply that they do without saying that they do. But this actually, like, I only use this if I curled my hair or something, or if I blow
Mm.
dried. So I kind of damage it a little bit, and then I'll just use this the same night when I take a shower, and then my hair, like, it doesn't break. Like, I don't get split ends. And I have to turn my curling iron up really, really hot to get it to actually do anything. And I have to leave
Yeah.
it on my hair for like a pretty long time. Like before started using this, when I was curling my hair, like my hair got fucked up. Like I would have to go get an inch or two trimmed off every couple of months because it grows really fast too, but it was just like breaking. It was so fucked up all the time. So I got that and I started using it and I was like, holy shit, like it actually works because I'm not getting split ends. It's not
Mm.
just that it makes your hair feel nice because any conditioner can do
Mm.
that, but legit, like it fixes bonds. So I'm just like obsessed with it. So that's like my fifth bottle probably. And I just buy it from my salon every time I go to get a haircut. And that's how I know it's time to get a haircut when I need another bottle too. But that's
That's
totally like,
convenient.
I think that's the only hair care product where I specifically am like, this is really good and I'll keep buying it because usually I just get whatever at the store, like what's cheap, because like for shampoo and conditioner, I'm not that picky.
Mm. The other thing I found really good, which I've gone on about, is amodimethicone. So it's like my favorite silicone for like really damaged hair. And a lot of people have told me that they've started looking for it in their products as well, and they found that it's been really good. So it is a silicone, which I know a lot of people hate, but because silicones tend to weigh down hair. And I found that with my bleached hair as well when it started like soaking in everything because bleached hair is super porous. It's like a sponge. Um, but amodimethicone has a positive charge, which means like if there's too much of it there, it's too positive, and so the rest of it like just doesn't stick on. So it's sort of self-limiting in terms of how much goes onto the hair. And then the other thing is it forms a film, so it actually bonds together, and it has like a lasting effect on your hair. So it lasts for a few washes, which is bad if you're about to go to the hairdresser, but it's good if you're just trying to maintain your hair like away from the hairdresser. And I know hairdressers are always really angry about silicones because I think it's just annoying for them because like you go to the hairdresser and they have to like strip it of the silicones before they can like get into your hair. But yeah, so that I found really good. And someone asked me about Elizavika hair treatment, and amodimethicone is actually one of the top ingredients in that. And I have tried it and it's very good, but it's sort of expensive. So I try to not use it too much.
Yeah. I think that brand is not supposed to be super expensive, but like
I don't know, maybe
import
it's just because I'm buying it here, and so like it
yeah.
ends up being $20 for a tube. Um, I'm sure in Korea it's a lot cheaper, but we
I had
can't
a
go to Korea.
pre-wash treatment that had amodimethicone in it, and I really, really liked
Mm.
that one. Which I
Mm.
think you kind of posted about this ingredient like while I was using it. It was so interesting because you spray it on your hair right before you shampoo, and it claims
Mm.
to just kind of reduce the tugging and the damage to your hair while
Mm.
you're shampooing and drying. It actually did make it feel like way silkier through
Mm.
the whole process, so that was nice. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of sort of distaste of silicones, but I mean, they're not all the
Mm.
exact same thing, and some of them are really, really useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also I think yeah, it just really depends on your hair because like when my hair was like nice and like nice Asian hair, any silicone I threw at it, it was just like so happy. And then once I bleached it and I used the same products, it was like sad and floppy, and I was like I was so sad. I was like using my products and I'm like my hair is like awful forever. I'm always gonna have wet, noodly, weird, floppy hair. And then I used amodimethicone and suddenly it was like it felt like normal hair again. And that's actually how I realized like why I started looking into the ingredient because it was just so transforming for porous hair. So yeah.
Okay, so I have a
Um
question for
mm,
you. Oh,
yeah.
are you seeing a
Mm.
question?
Oh yeah, I saw a question which was, does Olaplex cause colored bleach hair to fade? It does, but only to the extent where any other product does when you put it in your hair. So like, yeah, when I had purple hair, I put it in my hair and I could see like the purple coming out onto my hands. Um, yeah, it's just the same as any other like leave-on treatment. Yeah.
So someone is asking, they live in a really humid climate. What's a good moisturizer or sunscreen that doesn't sweat off easily you can recommend? So if it's really humid and you're going to sweat a lot, you probably really want to go for something that's water resistant, actually, would you say? Yeah.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
kind of hard to make like specific product recommendation based on with not having information about your skin, but
Mm,
the water resistant sunscreen I really like is Japanese. So it's called Skin Aqua Super Moisture Milk, something like that. And it comes in a small sort of gold bottle. Unfortunately, it's really tiny because Japanese sunscreens always come in tiny little containers. But it is water resistant, like it's super water resistant. Like I've worn this
mm,
stuff to the beach and gotten in the water and just been out like getting splashed and everything and come back and I can still like I have to use oil cleanser to get it off. But it doesn't have a white cast. It doesn't have alcohol, so it's not going to be extra drying. So that would
mm.
be maybe one thing that you could look into. But what would you say?
Yeah, I agree. Water resistant is probably the way to go. Most of my water resistant sunscreens are Australian though, and I know like no one gets Australian sunscreens. So I think the best non-Australian one that I've tried is probably the Shiseido one that everyone talks about. Um,
The
I
wet
can't
forest
remember the
one?
name. The yellow one and the one in the yellow container that's got like a slopey lid, and it has a sun on it. Um, oh, what's it called? Um, yeah, that one's pretty good. It did break me out though, but I think like all water resistant sunscreens like end up breaking me out eventually. Anessa, yes,
Shiseido?
Anessa.
Shiseido has the wet forest sunscreen, which they have made it in such a way that it's supposed to actually cling harder to your skin when it gets wet. Have you heard about that? It was a few years ago.
What's the name of it? Sorry.
Wet forest?
No,
Yeah.
never heard of that one. I do know that that Swedish brand, which I am looking at the bottle in the corner of my room, but I can't actually read it. Um, yeah, so EVY, Evie, I don't know how you say it. But it's like a foam that sinks into your skin, and I think there's quite a few brands that have started doing this. Sinks into your skin a bit so that it doesn't wash off as easily. So they claim that if you put it on your skin and then wait, I think 10 minutes and then shower or something, you will retain that protection. And they showed me some clinical data on two subjects. And yeah, it showed retained SPF. So unfortunately, that sort of claim, like there's no standard for it because obviously not everyone does this claim. Um, But yeah, it looks like it works if you trust their results, which I guess I do, because they're yeah. So in Europe, if you make a claim like that, you do actually have to show them the data. So yeah, I
So
thought that
in
was an
Europe,
interesting
can it
approach.
be internal research or does it have to be independent data?
Um, I'm not entirely sure. I'm really bad at remembering regulations per country, but I believe it has to be independent, like tested in a outside facility. Yeah, I don't think they have the facilities to do it themselves anyway.
Right.
Most most formulators aren't going to have. There are like special testing companies that do like tons of tests. Yeah. Um, Kate Somerville product. How safe is it to use an acid product in the shower? Um, I think the main risk is just having it drip into your eyes. Um, yeah, I think that's the main risk. Your skin is a bit more permeable when it's wet, so maybe it'll be stronger than usual. But yeah, it should be fine apart from the eye thing. What level of research was conducted? If it's on the EVY one, I don't know how much research they did before they released the product and did the final test, but with the final test, it was, I believe, on 2 people. Yeah.
So someone had an interesting question up here.
Mm.
Is there any way to make your hair grow faster or are all the get hair quick products scams? And I'm kind of curious too because I have the
Mhm.
DCM. I think it's the Ordinary that has like a hair something something serum that's coming to me. But like
Mm.
I
Oh,
personally,
the high density something.
yeah,
I don't
like
know
what are your
the names.
thoughts? But what are your thoughts on like generally, are there any things that have been shown besides minoxidil? So we know that
Um,
minoxidil actually helps with hair growth.
mm,
That's what people who are actively losing their hair can do. But I
mm,
think there's a lot of factors for just kind of growing whatever hair you have already out. I'm
mm.
not sure that that's something that can be done.
Yeah, if your hair is already out, then you can use there are a few things that you can do. So the eyelash serum um by
Latisse.
Matterfrost.
Mhm.
Like that's the lattice stuff. That stuff actually increases the length of the phase where your hair is growing. So when hair grows, there's like a resting phase, a growing phase, and then like a phase where it's just stopped. So it increases how long it keeps growing for. So that's why you get the longer eyelashes. It's really expensive though. I don't think you want to use it on your whole scalp. In terms of supplements, if you are deficient in something, then taking that supplement will increase how quickly your hair grows. But unless you're deficient, it probably won't do much. So biotin is one that people use. In terms of calcium supplements, so this is completely anecdotal, but I had a friend who broke like all of her bones in a car accident. And so she was on like mega calcium supplements and her hair grew really, really fast. But that was like unsafe. You need medical supervision levels of calcium. So I think unless like you have to get to that level to have really noticeable effects from a supplement.
So there's
Um,
definitely a lot of anecdote about sort of taking prenatal vitamins
hmm,
and that really seeming to increase like hair growth and nail growth too. Which
Interesting.
is kind
Yeah.
of
So I
funny
think
because when we're pregnant, we're already making,
hmm,
like our bodies are already doing different things anyway than they
yeah.
normally do. So it's hard to kind of narrow that down
Mm.
to is that really from the vitamins or is it part of the biological process of growing like
Mhm.
another human being in us?
Yeah, and the extra hormones you get from everything. Yeah, there's so much stuff in pregnancy. Um, yeah. So yeah, like yeah, there's very few things on supplements that are like guaranteed. So for supplements, I always just sort of think if you have if you've tried the other things and you have the money, then like and you're happy with it not working, then supplements like go for it. I did see an interesting thing though, which was someone gave an argument for never trying supplements because it funds pseudoscience indirectly. Um, yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought hard enough about that yet.
It's an interesting take on it. Here's
Mm,
a question about sunscreen. So I live in Australia and I know the SPF ratings are quite strict compared to other countries. How reliable are the SPF ratings of Asian sunscreens in comparison? Is SPF 50 plus on an Asian brand the same?
Um, it depends on what country. So most countries have different standards for the testing, but most countries do use the same standard, which is like the international standard. Um, yeah, so Australia, I think the main differences with Australian testing, it's actually not even the testing that's the strict part, it's actually the manufacturing. So Australian sunscreens, you can only sell an SPF above 15 if it's manufactured in a TGA approved facility. So the TGA is like our FDA, and basically they have to go to the factory and check it out. So I was talking to Bioderma, and the reason their sunscreen isn't approved here is because they can't get the TGA to fly out to France and approve their facility, and they don't want to outsource it to a facility that's already approved. So anecdotally, La Roche-Posay, they only got their sunscreen approved after 12 years because only after they got acquired by L'Oreal did they have the power, did they have the influence to get the TGA to go to France. So yeah, that's actually probably the main barrier to Asian sunscreens being approved here rather than the testing per se. In terms of we also have a strict broad spectrum rating, but it's actually the same criteria as in the EU. So there's critical wavelength plus the 1/3 SPF rule. In terms of the actual testing, I think there's like really subtle differences with things like number of human subjects required and how close the values have to be together. I'm not 100% sure on this because they recently changed the criteria. And honestly, it's just like there's so much, it's really like subtle things. But yeah, the main hurdle is actually the TGA approval.
So would
I
you
hope that
feel
answered the question.
pretty like comfortable to say that it varies by country, but like if a Japanese
Mm,
SPF 15 was next to an Australian
mm.
SPF 50 was next to an Australian SPF 50, would you feel pretty confident that the SPF, specifically like the UVB protection, would be what you would expect from the Japanese one?
Um, yes, but with a caveat. So recently, one of the facilities that did a whole bunch of testing, they found that like a whole bunch of their results were fraudulent. Um, so you might have seen those consumer tests every year that they do, where like a consumer magazine will test a whole bunch. I've never actually asked. I really want to ask what their procedure for their testing is. Like I am assuming they didn't pay for like a full 12 subject test for every sunscreen. Um, but yeah, so I don't know how accurate this is because most brands don't tell you which facility did their testing. But there were rumors that the brands that used this particular facilities were the ones that failed the consumer testing. Like more of them tended to fail. Yeah, this testing facility did a lot of SPF tests. So like it's possible that there's a whole bunch of sunscreens on the market now from like every country where the SPF isn't that reliable. Yeah, which is kind of
Oh,
scary.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I can really say like comparing Australian and Japanese because quite a few Australian sunscreens were tested by that facility as well. Yeah.
What's your favorite relatively affordable vitamin C serum? I like Timeless because it's under $25. It's L-ascorbic acid and it has kind of like it hits the main points that you want to see in an L-ascorbic acid vitamin C serum. Like it has 20% L-ascorbic acid. It's at a low pH. It has ferulic acid and it has tocopherol, so vitamin E. So
Mm.
those are kind of the main things you want in there to help stabilize the vitamin C so that the shelf life is a little bit longer because it tends to oxidize really quickly and they kind of enhance the effects. It's so the thing with Timeless, or at least the last time that I bought from them, is that they make the product in pretty small batches, which is also really important for L-ascorbic acid serums because they do oxidize and go off really quickly. You don't want to get something that's been sitting in a warehouse for like a year. It's probably already orange by the time it gets to your door.
Mm.
So That one I think is really good, especially because it's under $25. So a lot of times with vitamin C serums, by the time I'm getting close to being done with it, it's already oxidizing. Like
Hmm.
even if it's been in the fridge, even if it's in an opaque container, like that's just kind of the way vitamin C serums are. So that's also why I'm super opposed to like a super expensive vitamin C serum because, dude,
Yeah.
it's gonna go bad. You're not using
Yeah,
the
I feel
whole
the
thing.
same.
Mhm. What about yours?
I would go DIY. So if you just get vitamin C powder and baking soda and water, you can make your own vitamin C serum. Obviously, it won't have the ferulic acid, the vitamin E, but it is like as fresh as you can get. um, yeah, so I that would be the cheapest one. It does take a little bit more effort than just like buying a ready-made product because you should really make it every 2 weeks. But yeah, like I think that's the like definitely the cheapest, most effective vitamin C serum. And personally, when I've tried it, I've seen my pigment fade faster than with a commercial product. And I think it's like you said, all the sitting around in a warehouse, you just can't control any of that. Whereas this is
Exactly.
like the day after you've made it, you know it is like good. Yeah.
So would you like, what do you think about mixing those in with serums? Someone was asking in the comments.
Um, the problem is, I think it's just the danger of burning your face off. Um, so like measuring the amount in a serum is going to be really small. I don't know, maybe I'll calculate it. I can do a live calculation. Um, so let's say
Nice.
your blob of serum. How much would a blob of serum be, do you think, compared to like how much sunscreen you're meant to use? Like, I don't know, like 1/10 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's go 1/10. So we know that it's like a quarter teaspoon, which is like 1.25 mils ish, times 1/10, so times zero point 0.1, 0.125. Let's say we want 10% vitamin C, so times zero point 0.1, assuming it's water based. You're trying to get like, is that right? Like 12 milligrams. That seems like a lot. I don't know. Nah, no, I've messed up somewhere. I've messed up my maths already. Yeah, so like you're trying to measure out like a really small amount. And if you pinch it, so I think probably like 3 or 4 salt-sized grains is going to be about 1 milligram of ascorbic acid, I would estimate. This is so rough, I'm sorry. But like that's the sort of thing you're trying to weigh, you're trying to like eyeball. I think that's the main issue. Plus there's also the fact that when you mix ascorbic acid into just water at 10%, it's like the pH goes down to like 2. Um, and so that's why you have to add the baking soda to the DIY serum to make the pH go back up again so you don't burn your face off. And you just don't have control of that if you're just mixing it into your serum like each time you use it. So that's my main problem with it. It's just that it is very cheap and it's very late, like it's the lazy way. And I have done that in the past. But yeah, and I think one of the main problems with vitamin C serums that I've seen people complain about is that it tends to break them up because it's so acidic. And so I think you're increasing the risk of that as well.
Here was an interesting question. How does using anti-aging skincare too early affect your collagen production as you get older? So I'm not going to speak to like how it might affect your collagen production, but a lot of the effective and proven anti-aging skincare that you might use, so we're going to talk about like AHAs and retinoids, make your skin more photosensitive. So I think that one thing could be that you sort of increase the risk if you're not concurrently using SPF correctly, like all the time, is that you are extending the period of time in your life where your skin is more photosensitive and
Mm.
thus extending the period of time that your skin is taking UV damage, which in the long run is going to totally like negate the efforts that you're using. So,
Mm.
you know, like a lot of people have questions about, is this appropriate to use when I'm in my 20s or in my 30s?
Mm.
I think with the strong and like really proven anti-aging ingredients, what you have to do is know what the side effects are and sort of
Mm.
mitigate them. So if you want to use retinol, you want to use AHAs, you have to use sunscreen, or else
Yeah.
there's no point because your skin's going to get more damaged.
Mm.
I wish someone would tell all the teenagers on TikTok that, because they're all using that 30% peel, 30% AHA
Oh,
peel
yeah.
from The Ordinary. It's painful.
Yeah,
But what are you doing?
everyone adds those things to their routine before they add a sunscreen. Um, yeah, I did that. I had a friend recently who I found out was like using AHAs without sunscreen, and she was like, "Why is my skin getting more pigmented? And I feel like my wrinkles are getting worse. I'm gonna buy a laser." And I was like, "Oh my God, just buy sunscreen. It's like $10, please." Um, yeah. Yeah, so
So,
I don't think there is a. So usually the thing I see about using anti-aging things too early is that you'll run out of skin. Like there's a limit to how many times the cells replicate, and skin doesn't really work like that. So we have um, like immortal cells in the bottom of the like stem cells in the bottom of the epidermis. So anti-aging things usually just affect things like above that, or they affect that layer. So like it doesn't reach what's called the Hayflick limit. Um, I haven't seen anything on collagen though, but collagen's not subject to that either, like collagen production.
so
Yeah.
you're not going to, like, if we assume that they're using sunscreen correctly every single day,
Mm,
they're not
yeah.
going to, like, shorten the lifespan of their skin, you say, from using
Yeah.
anti-aging products too early.
Yeah.
Is vegan EGF as effective as human EGF?
I have no idea. Yeah.
I feel like I never really looked into EGF that much because it just,
Yeah, me neither.
yeah, it honestly just
I feel like
seems,
it's been around for a while, but it's never really taken off. So
it's
I've
really
just,
good
yeah,
for
I don't
you.
know. I'm a hype beast.
Yeah. Well, like the thing about EGF or stem cells, that a lot of times you see products that have stem cells, but they're like plant stem cells. And going,
Mm,
even if applying something topically to your skin without any special delivery method or anything, just as a regular skincare product, even if the stem cell content in that was like going to do something, you're not a plant. So you're not going to grow petals or anything because that's not
yeah.
human stem cells even. So even like
Yeah.
ingredients like that just seem sort of scammy. It's like they may have
Yeah, yeah, I think there's a lot.
side
I think
benefits.
maybe vegan EGF, I don't actually know enough about it, but I think it might just be the same stuff, but like just made in a vegan way. I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Rules for layering actives like BHA and copper peptides. I've heard so much conflicting things on like acids and copper peptides, so I just
Mm.
separate them. Like I just do
Yeah,
one in the morning and then one in the evening.
I think that's probably just the easiest way. I haven't actually looked into it properly yet. I was meant to do a live with like some lab people from Decium at some point. Haven't managed to organize that properly yet. But I was actually going to ask them about all their recommendations, to explain all the recommendations on their website, because they have so many and I just don't know where they get the info from. So it would be really cool to see where it's from. But yeah, maybe at some point. Yeah.
Oh no, I've never heard of this before. Is applying tretinoin on wet skin more effective? It's a trend. Tret on wet. So your skin absorbs more product when it's wet. That's why Curology, for example, says to not put the product right on your wet skin, like let it really get dry
Mm,
for like 20 minutes.
mm.
I
Yeah.
think there's
Well,
a
I mean, it's
recipe
more
for
effective,
it.
but then it's also like going to give you more side effects. So I guess it depends on what point you're at your in your tret journey. If you've been using it for like 2 years and you just want to like you're at 0.1%, you're at your maximum percentage, and you just want to like get more, then yeah, putting it on wet skin is a good idea. But if you're starting off, like if you're in your first like month of it,
Yeah, don't do
um
that. It's
yeah,
gonna be
just
super
you can
heavy.
get a higher percentage. You can yeah, use a higher percentage. And like I don't know, like I with my use of Tret, like I've been using it for about like a year or two now. And like I use a tiny blob and half the time it's too much and I peel heaps the next day. Um
We're out of
yeah.
time. We have 7 seconds left.